when pioneers introduced a plant called buckthorn to Minnesota in the 1800s, they thought it would thrive as a hedge.
But it's thrived a little too well. Buckthorn hasn't been sold in the state for 80 years, but you can still find plenty of it in the woods and in our parks. 12 News reporter Shannon Slatton shares how you can help battle buckthorn.
This whole area right here, you couldn't see 5 feet.
When Dave Turbinson grabs his red basket and heads into the woods,
These trails had grown closed, and we still have a lot of work to do.
he's a man on a mission.
When I moved to Plymouth 10 years ago, one of the reasons I moved here was the parks and the trails and the woods. And over the last 10 years, the woods near my house have slowly been overrun by buckthorn.
Buckthorn is a non-native plant that has an opposite leaf pattern and thorns. It spreads rapidly and crowds out other plants.
So I decided to make a stand and start cutting buckthorn.
Dave decided to battle buckthorn in the park that borders his backyard.
Now that we've found the buckthorn, it's time to cut it and kill it. And the two most useful tools for cutting buckthorn are just a lopper and a handsaw.
After you cut the buckthorn, you must apply a concentrated herbicide to kill the plant. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they cut it but don't kill it.
We need to kill this buckthorn. If I don't treat this with an herbicide, by next year there'll be 5 to 8 new sprouts coming out of this stump.
There's evidence of that here. Someone cut a big buckthorn tree but didn't spray it. So 10 plants grew out of the stump.
It's gaining momentum.
Here you can see just how prolific one buckthorn tree can be. This is a female. You can tell because it has berries. Underneath you'll see hundreds of new plants that will be ready to reproduce in the next few years. Plymouth needs more volunteers like Dave to organize buckthorn busts this fall.
Volunteers are critical in our struggle against buckthorn. We just don't have the resources to get everywhere.
But volunteers could lead the way in eliminating the buckthorn bully from overtaking a park near your home.
I just don't want to let that happen on my watch. I feel it's my responsibility as a resident of Plymouth to do something about it.
In Plymouth, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
The best time to eradicate buckthorn is late summer or early fall, and buckthorn loses its leaves later than native trees, so that's one way to identify it. And I think if you look in your backyard, you might have some.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of people